I'm going to be honest with you. Today has been an exceptionally hard day. After the weekend and learning of the US being responsible for the murder of nearly 200 little girls in Iran and the president lying about it, on top of which Israel striking 4 oil refineries that has caused it to rain oil and toxins over Tehran, which is a population of 10 million people. I didn't sleep well. I'm actually feeling a heavy sense of grief and just a real lack of faith in humanity because I really don't understand how we live inside of a country that has justified this type of chaos and cruelty. Buckle up, friends. It's time for the Danielle Moody Show. Let's go. Hello, hello, damn nation. I am so happy that you all are here. And if you are a person like myself who considers themselves a empath, someone who genuinely feels the pain of others, um, then you are at a struggle point. You've been at a struggle point for quite some time. But the latest actions by this regime in coordination with Israel has reached a different level of depravity. In listening to the likes of Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham celebrate the murder of 1,200 civilians in Iran, celebrate and egg on the continued devastation of this sovereign nation. You know, I know that America has done dirt around this world. I know that America has bombed more countries than any of us will know. But the fact that it is just so in our face on all of our devices, that the masks are off, that the celebration of white nationalism is just front and center, no longer marginalized, no longer hidden with coded language, just overt. It really does something to your spirit. At least I know that it's doing something to mine. I woke up today after maybe just a few hours of sleep, and I felt so dark and heavy. I went for a walk and I wanted to just take in some air after so many weeks under snow. And it's finally in the 60s here in New York. And so I went down to my park and I go for a walk and I'm looking at the blue sky and I'm looking at the skyline of New York City. And I started to cry because I said that across the world in Tehran, people living in a city that is more populous than New York City are looking up at a sky that is black, that is filled with cancerous toxins. They are feeling precipitation come down, but it's not water, it's oil. The type of depravity that it takes to cause that type of almost nuclear type of attack on a civilian population and then have the audacity to look into cameras and tell us that you're there to liberate the people that you are murdering. There is something sociopathic about it. Earlier today, I did a short video that is posted and up now, and I said, I don't need our politicians, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, these faux, feckless fucking leaders of the Senate and the minority speaker of the House to function as influencers, posting on social media about how upset they are with their strongly worded threads and tweets. You're not a fucking influencer. You're a politician that people duly elected to actually do a job, to uphold the Constitution, to uphold law and order, to hold criminals in check, to create policies that advance the American people. Not roll back the clock, and certainly not lay the fuck down for corporations that you are more beholden to. Chuck Schumer, several weeks ago, said that his main job as senator of New York is to ensure continued prosperity and resources of our money flowing to Israel. Hakeem Jeffries, the known launderer and bundler for AIPAC, has his nickname as AIPAC Shakur because he doesn't do shit but take money and talk tough and bundle their assets so that other Democrats have cover and can say, oh, we don't take money from AIPAC, but we take money from this PAC over here and that PAC over there, all of it being funded by AIPAC. We're not just here, folks, in this situation. And I always come back to this point because I believe in holding everyone accountable for the atrocities that we're living through right now. But we're not only here because of the Armageddon style fantasies and the white nationalism endgame of the Trump regime. We're also here because of Democrats that still are funding DHS, that are still funding the Pentagon, knowing good goddamn well that there are war crimes being committed in both Israel and in Iran now, and also the crimes that are being committed on our own soil in the form of these concentration camps known as detention centers. I looked at this photo yesterday and I thought to myself as I was on my walk this morning, looking up at blue skies, what would we do? What would I do if this was New York City? Trying to flee to somewhere safe, somewhere, and where is safe? When this country is being ruled by absolute fascist, depraved, disgusting, inhumane people. Can you imagine? I was thinking to myself as I'm watching pregnant women on their walks, and I'm thinking about the pregnant women that are in Iran that are now breathing in cancerous toxins. I'm thinking about the little children that can't possibly be able to go outside, but it doesn't even matter because whatever filters that you may have inside were not meant to filter out this level of catastrophe. We never put ourselves in the shoes of the people that we are bombing. Because it's easier to go the Lindsey Graham and the Pete Hegseth and the Donald Trump route and just paint all people with a broad brush. If they're black, if they're brown, they're not really people. They don't really have lives and livelihoods and families. The devastation that is being caused, the devastation that has been caused in Gaza, which is rubble, hundreds of thousands of souls just gone, murdered, evaporated, vanquished, all of it, extinguished at the hands of people that don't believe they should exist. A sitting member of Congress today posted on social media saying that Muslims don't deserve to exist and he doesn't believe in plutocracy. Will he be censured? Will he be forced to resign? No, probably will get a promotion and be put on Donald Trump's special envoy to the Western world or whatever other bullshit that he makes up. $10 million people. Not some empty desert. 10 million people. And there is a reporter, an American reporter, Frederick Pleitgen, who is on the ground in Iran. And I want you to take a listen to what he offered with regard to what he has seen. And let me see, dear friends, because it's so very hard these days with my videos. Please hold and let me see if I can find it. Nope, that is not it. All right, I am going to look for that video. But basically, what Frederick offers is he shows you a absolute visual of the devastation that is there. And he shows you the skies. And let me see once again. Bear with me if I can find it. Here we go.
This is what Tehran is waking up to this morning. The sky above the city is covered in very thick black clouds. You can see that everywhere. That's the west of the city over there, and this is the north of the city. Normally, if you look to that direction, you could actually see the Alborz Mountains, but now all of that is also covered in clouds. That comes after major airstrikes in the south and the west of the city happened last night, where oil installations were hit, oil storage facilities. Apparently also a refinery might have been hit as well. And now you can see this morning that the sky is still very dark. We saw thick black plumes of smoke in the sky yesterday. There were massive fires in the south of the city. But I want to show you something else, because it's also raining. But you can see that the rain water is actually black, also saturated, it appears, with oil. And then if we look over there, you can see that the water that's running down here also is black. So that's what's coming down this morning, this sort of oil-filled rain that we have right now on the Iranian capital after those strikes took place.
Can you just imagine, on top of the cancerous disease that this will cause, the animals, the vegetation, this is like a oil nuclear bomb that Israel just ignited because. And I just want to be clear that while Iran is doing targeted strikes on military bases, Israel and America, however, remember what Pete Hegseth said, we're not going to be dealing with these woke rules of engagement, right? We're going to do whatever the fuck we want, where we want. So you'll bomb a school. You'll bomb the saline centers so that people don't have clean water. Because that's really what Israel is good at, what they've done over and over again in Gaza to ensure that there is no clean water, there's no access to it. These are war crimes. But again, what we realize now in this day and age is that those are just terms. It's not as if anybody's ever going to be held accountable. It's not as if anybody's ever going to go to jail. In other countries, maybe, right? We talked about the South Korean president that tried to overthrow the government by issuing martial law. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. Bolsonaro did the same in Brazil. He's going to jail. So these supposed lesser nations, middle powers, they actually take care of their criminals. I don't care how many fucking lists that Netanyahu goes on, because if you're not going to actually go after him, then who cares? If you're putting him, oh, if he steps foot in my country, I'll arrest him. Okay. He's not going to step foot in your country. So you just talk tough and carry on. I look at all of this and I honestly, I'm sick. I feel sick. And I feel sick that there are people that are jumping for joy about this. And these are people that have never known the kind of loss that America is inflicting, that Israel is inflicting. And so while Pete Hegseth says that this war isn't about regime change, it's not about regime change, because they don't know what the fuck it's about. It's about Donald Trump's vibes, his feelings about something. But what we really know is that he was dog walked into a war by Netanyahu, because other administrations were also presented with the same bullshit that Netanyahu offered Trump, but they were smart enough to say, yeah, no, we're not going to do a preemptive strike. If you are hit, right? If it is Iran going after you, we're happy to defend you, but we're not going to make preemptive strikes. That sounds crazy. Donald Trump, however, I'm sure all Netanyahu had to do was just blow in his ear, fill up that big, fat, inflated ego of his, and say, no one else had the courage to do it. You're the tough guy. I believe that you will have the courage to do what is necessary to protect Israel. I guarantee you it was something along those lines. And you know how big Donald Trump is on history, on slapping his name on everything. Said, ooh, I could own this. Yes. I'll be the tough guy that ends Iran. Not really thinking about, an actual strategy of what comes next. And what comes next? You see, Iran has always had a secession plan, right? And so they have named the Ayatollah's son, Mojtaba Khamenei, the country's new supreme leader, following his father's murder. And just a little bit about him. More hardline than his father. He's the IRGC candidate. He's only 56, so he could reign for, 30, 40, 50 years maybe. Avoids the public, trusted by father clerics, was in the military during Iraq-Iran war. Oh, and what is the other thing? America and Israel killed his wife along with his father. So you tell me, if you think that the new leader of Iran is just gonna bow down and just let America have its way, or if he's prepared to take this war to hell if need be, because he's already lost his family. And as the foreign minister said of Iran, we have an appetite for this. We'll go the long haul. Does America have the appetite? You know, our 7th soldier was killed. Donald Trump wore his baseball hat and at the dignified transfer of the 6 bodies, and now a 7th. And Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have no problem going on television flapping their gums about how more casualties will be to come. Because, of course, it's not their kids that are going to be in coffins draped with the American flag. It's not going to be their people. Over 1,200 Iranian civilians are dead. So far, 12 Israelis are dead. 7 Americans are dead. We're on day 11. And Donald Trump is talking about boots on the ground. Take a listen to this piece of garbage. Lindsey Graham. And how Lindsey Graham is talking about Iran.
We're going to win. Israel and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military should make us all proud.
These men and women in the military should make us all proud. Because now the military is a killing machine. It isn't about defending or protecting democracy. It's about killing those that get in your way. And they should make us proud with their sacrifices of their life. Not Lindsey Graham's life, not his family, not his loved ones. So he can go on television and salivate at the idea of dead Iranians and think that America is just going to jump on board. And by the way, when he said that Democrats haven't done anything, I'm sorry. We had an Iran peace deal when Obama left office. Donald Trump tore it up in his first term. But as I've said over and over again, peace ain't profitable. Because you know who threw a little money into a drones company? You know, the drones that are dropping bombs? Donald Trump's 2 Tweedledee and Tweedledum fucking sons. Because it's not enough that they're doing their smash and grab with crypto. Now they want to get into the business of war. And so they're backing a drone company. So the more drones that are needed, the more devastation that is caused, the more money the Trumps make. See how that works? You want to tell me that it's radical to believe in diplomacy, but believing that you can bomb your way to peace doesn't sound fucking stupid? And here is this. This was great. This is a statement from Khalaf Ahmad al-Habtour, and apologies for my pronunciations, from the UAE, saying this: I heard the statements of the U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, in which he calls on the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC countries, to enter this war, saying that we are also under attack and that we must join the fight. And I say to him clearly, we know full well why we are under attack. And we also know who dragged the entire region into this dangerous escalation without consulting those he calls his allies in the region. We thank God that the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and the Gulf Cooperation Council countries are doing well and have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is, the hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in war, whose peoples were not party to its decision making, and its local allies were not consulted before it was launched. So here is again Lindsey Graham yapping off, saying to everybody, jump into the war with us. You're under threat. Iran's going after you. And they're like, yeah, we know why Iran is going after us. And it's because of fucking you. So, yeah, we're not going to fight this war on your behalf. Did you see the statements that the Kurds put out as well? Oh, the Kurds should rise up. And they said, leave our fucking names out of it. We are not guns for hire for the United States, only to show up and do our best to help you to be left out in the cold, as you've done time and time again. So you see, these folks are hip to America's lies. They're hip to the fact that they get nothing out of the deal except their own people dead and their own country devastated. Is the United States going to come in and help rebuild? Is the United States going to come in and offer protection? Nah. Much in the same way that we did in fucking Afghanistan, when it's time for us to roll out, we going to roll out. We don't care if you helped us at all. We're not going to get you out. And now the people that put their lives on the line there, they're either in prison, dead, or on the run. That's what the United States did. So I'm telling you, folks, while all of this is so deeply painful, it is eye-opening. We can't pretend we don't know who our country is. We can't pretend anymore that we're the good guys. We never were. We just had good PR and wonderful spin that we told as tales in this country of us going around the world to protect democracy, when it was really to protect our imperialist ventures, to protect capitalism, at the expense of everyone else's land and their lives. Long live America. But this is actually who we are. And we have to reckon with that. We can't run from that. We can't just put it all on Donald Trump, because it's not all on him. He is a manifestation of everything that has been unchecked in this country for decades, if not centuries. You have Donald Trump going around talking about, oh, we didn't bomb the school. That was Iran. And the U.S. military refuses to endorse Trump's claim that Iran bombed the girls' school. Trump claimed that Iran, not the U.S., struck an elementary school in the southern Iranian town of Minab, the attack with the highest civilian death toll in Trump's second Iran war. 3 current and former defense officials, however, pushed back on his claims. Even Trump's own Pentagon chief, Hegseth, refused to back him up, saying it appeared to suggest that Trump's comments were inappropriate. You see, when he was on the plane on Air Force One and Pete Hegseth was behind him and he said, oh, it wasn't us, it was Iran that bombed those schools, Pete Hegseth jumped in and was just like, we're looking into the matter. No, you're looking into yet another cover-up. This is another instance of Trump lying and just talking out of his ass, said a U.S. government official who reviewed satellite images of the Shajara Tabea school. This clearly was not a failed rocket from the IRG base. The U.S. official was referring to an Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy base that was adjacent to the school. The claim that the IRGC struck the school spread as part of a misinformation campaign about the attack, peddled by social media accounts that support restoring Iran's monarchy. The U.S. official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to speak freely said it was clear that Iran did not strike the school. Trump, however, endorsed the dubious claim when taking questions from the press aboard Air Force One on Saturday. Doesn't that just sound familiar? Donald Trump just spreading misinformation and disinformation, just lying to cover his ass. Oh, it wasn't us. And then you remember bobblehead Barbie standing up there before the press corps and saying, "How dare you suggest that the United States would have anything to do with this attack? It is Iran that targets civilians." Maybe so, but not this fucking time. And so your clutch pearl rehearsal that you were doing was on some B-list bullshit. But what's the plan here? Right? What's the plan? Well, this was great because bobblehead Barbie was on Fox and she told the whole truth. Will you bring back the draft? She was asked. We're not ruling anything out.
Out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
The draft dodger does what? Largely keeps his options on the table to send young men and women to their death at a war that he didn't think out and has no fucking exit plan for. And then, by the way, before I came on air, he also was talking out of the other side of his mouth saying that the mission was nearly complete. And yet, we're not quite sure what the fuck the mission was to begin with. But now, according to him, much in the same way that, oh, we took out and obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. Well, if you obliterated the nuclear capabilities, then when Netanyahu told you that a nuclear strike was imminent, that an attack was imminent, then you would have been able to say, well, we took care of that, bro. No reason for you to be concerned. Qasim Rashid, he laid out 4 possible scenarios that I thought were worth repeating here today on the Danielle Moody Show. Because none of us know what is going to happen, but we are students of history, at least some of us are. We are able to determine how Donald Trump usually plays things out. So here are his 4. There are only 4 possible scenarios. 4th is the best option for humanity and the one Trump would rather die than accept. In regard to Iran, he says, number 1, Trump admits defeat and leaves Iran. Global power shifts clearly to China and Russia. Number 2, Trump conducts a ground invasion. USA will lose, potentially millions killed. Likely global war erupts. Door number 3. Israel and USA use nuclear weapons. Definite global war erupts. Potentially billions are killed. Number 4. Trump resigns or is impeached and actual peace negotiations begin. Praying for option 4. And I think that we all know that option 4 is unlikely. Because let's just be clear, folks. Let's just be clear. When has Donald Trump ever admitted defeat? Right? He still walks around believing that he won the 2020 election, that the election was rigged, because he refuses to admit defeat. So him gonna back out of Iran after you cause all this havoc and say, we're done here? Nope, that's not gonna happen. Trump conducts a ground invasion? Yep, because ground forces are on stand back and stand by. Potentially millions killed? Absolutely. Likely global war erupts? Yep. Because what did I say last week as we were going off the air with Democracy-ish on Friday? I said, I'm pretty sure that Russia is going to be supplying intel and information to Iran. And I'm pretty sure China is not going to sit back as 80 to 90% of their oil production comes from Iran and just allow their economy to fucking collapse. So Donald Trump is playing chicken with Xi Jinping and Putin, and we think that Donald Trump is going to win? These men have been playing this motherfucker for a fool for like 10 years. They know exactly what to say and when to say it. We know that the drone parts that are being used from Iran come from Russia. We know that Russia is supplying intel. I wonder where he got that intel from. Maybe from the fucking blabbermouth who thinks that everybody is his friend. The one that he was probably showing all the classified documents to. Remember that? That Jack Smith testified in his deposition just a couple of months ago and said that he's pretty sure that Donald Trump shared nuclear secrets. We don't know with who, but we know who he praises all the time. We know whose tip he's on all the time. Putin. Who told us that he was going to be Putin's puppet? Hillary Clinton, 2015. Fast forward. Is it so unbelievable to think that between Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, that Russia doesn't have everything that they need to provide to Iran? Particularly that you're putting a chokehold and fucking around with their money? The oligarchs' money? You know who didn't fall for the rope-a-dope, though? You know who didn't fall for Netanyahu's bullshit because they knew better? Biden. Take a listen to his former
seventh attack on Israel, the horrific attack on Israel by Hamas. The Israelis were insisting that in the north, Hezbollah from Lebanon was about to attack, and they wanted to strike preemptively against Hezbollah. And President Biden said, "Look, we're with you. We'll always be with you in defending Israel. And if you're attacked, we're there. But we're not there if you're going to start something." And we came within about 30 minutes of having a war in the north based on bad information that the Israelis had about an imminent attack from Hezbollah. We were able to avert that. But Biden was very insistent. We're not going to do something that you initiate, that you start. It's very different than defending Israel when it's been attacked.
So they weren't going to operate on bad intel. Now, they also still funneled billions of dollars to Netanyahu so that he could commit a genocide, and refused to call it a genocide and said, oh, those numbers of deaths, of murders that are coming out, those aren't real or right, until the Israelis said, no, we've killed at least, 100,000 or more. Going to keep going. No one's going to stop us. But I just want to be very clear that Blinken was like, yeah, we weren't going to go preemptively into a world war situation on bad intel. And we were definitely not going to preemptively strike Iran based on this imminent threat that Netanyahu's been spitballing around for the last 40 years. That's because everyone else, doesn't do their situation room meetings at the Mar-a-Lago buffet. That's because they don't have people around them that are sharing top secret, top clearance information, classified information on a fucking group chat. That's because they didn't fire all of the people, with intelligence. So that's where we are there. That's where we are with Iran right now. As we are now in week 2 of this unnecessary, catastrophic war, we'll just continue to see what happens. In the meantime, while Donald Trump bombed girls to distract us from the fact that he is credibly accused of sexually assaulting a girl, we're going to switch gears to the Epstein files and where we are there. Because whoa. While we're following the mass destruction that is being done in Iran and waiting on the edge of our seats to see whether or not, we'll all be blown up in a world war, whether or not the sleeper cells will be activated around this country and around the world. New information about Jeffrey Epstein and his death. A prison guard for Jeffrey Epstein Googled him just minutes before he was found deceased and made a mysterious $5,000 cash deposit 10 days before Epstein's death, according to the New York Post. Tova Noel was previously accused of falsifying records. Her charges were later dropped. According to the New York Post, Noel made multiple suspicious Google searches less than an hour before Epstein was found deceased. Noel Googled latest on Epstein in jail at 5:42 a.m. and then again at 5:52 a.m. Less than 40 minutes before her colleague, correctional officer Michael Thomas, found the disgraced financier dead in his cell by hanging at 6:30 a.m., the New York Post reports. The outlet also reports that Chase Bank had flagged cash deposits in Noel's bank account in a suspicious activity report to the FBI in November 2019. Can anybody remember who was president in 2019? Anyone? I'll give you a hint. Orange. One deposit was for $5,000 on July 30th, 2019. Epstein was found deceased on August 10th, 2019. I don't know about you all, but it does seem suspicious, no? Don't you find it curious that no one looked into anything? And then again, this is wild. An inmate says he overheard guards discussing a cover-up the morning Jeffrey Epstein died. Guard Tova Noel searched, latest on Epstein in jail, twice, 40 minutes before he was found dead. Her bank account showed thousands in payments. Payments from who? DOJ docs FBI interview allege prison guards talked about cover-up in Epstein's death. Inmate tells FBI he heard guards saying Epstein was killed. Sometimes officers blank say on Saturday or Sunday they were doing anything where what are you up to on Saturday and Sunday? After new officer comes in at 12, she turns fan on, or he did, and it blocked out noise. Dozed off, woke up, back and forth, food cart, punched in, then hear, breathe, breathe. Other officer comes in. When they were walking through with breakfast, blank served food. And dude said, you killed that dude. She said, if he's dead, we're going to cover it up. And he's going to have to have an alibi, my officers. Folks, this seemed like something anybody maybe wanted to follow up on, right? Evidently not. Evidently not. Jeffrey Epstein murdered? Why did the Manhattan Medical Examiner sign a confidentiality agreement in connection with the Epstein investigation into the murder of Jeffrey Epstein? And why are the names redacted in this document? Again, who was running the Department of Justice? Bill Barr. Who visited Epstein 4 days before he died? Bill Barr. Now, all of a sudden, you got guards talking about a cover-up, turning on a fan, Googling who the man is. You got money that was dumped into accounts. You got a medical examiner talking about murder, names redacted. These are not victims. So why are their names redacted? Why was that guard charged and then her charges dropped? Then, as I've said for weeks, Julie K. Brown, fantastic investigative reporter. The prison camera video released by the Department of Justice did not show Epstein's cell or even the stairwell to his wing. So what are we talking about here, folks? Well, we're talking about this. We're talking about the fact that Donald Trump had been credibly accused. We're talking about the fact that potentially Jeffrey Epstein had all the goods to bring Donald Trump and the entire syndicate down. We're talking about the fact that either he was better off dead or disappeared than standing trial, because who knows what would have come out then. The allegations against Donald Trump are that he sexually assaulted and then physically assaulted a 13-year-old girl. The FBI, for some reason, did 4 interviews with this woman. Not 1, not 2, but 4, because they found her credible enough. But then, all of a sudden, the only thing that appeared in their last 3 million file dump was her one interview where she didn't mention Donald Trump at all. And now, mysteriously, as we're at war with Iran, now the information comes out again. But you know what's gone down about 90%? People's Google searches for Epstein, because now they're Googling World War fucking III. See how that all works out for Donald Trump? The Justice Department released more Epstein files Thursday that include allegations made by a woman accusing Donald Trump of sexually abusing her when she was a minor. The DOJ said the files had not been released after they had been, quote, incorrectly coded as duplicative. Isn't that convenient? Oops, we thought that these were duplicates. So we didn't include the credible interviews that we had done with the woman who said that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her when she was 13 years old. Honestly, it's like they just all assume that we're dumb. But it's not even that they assume that we're dumb, folks. They just know that they're going to get away with it because they've gotten away with it for 30 years. And again, if you think that this multi-billion-dollar Epstein syndicate went away when Jeffrey Epstein died, then I have a bridge to sell you. Like, it's just so blatant and in our face. Donald Trump is being alleged to be a pedophile. He was already adjudicated on rape. He already had multiple women over the course of his time either accuse him of rape or sexual harassment, including his ex-wife that is buried at his golf course. Julie K. Brown writes this: using archived government records and news accounts, the Post and the Courier found that the woman provided verifiable details to agents about her family background and its legal entanglements. She offered the name of an Epstein business associate on Hilton Head Island who became a central figure in the drama with specifics that reflected in the public record. Then there's also this. CNN has uncovered an unredacted videos inside the DOJ's Epstein files. In one, a girl states she is 15 years old. These videos sat in government custody for years. The deputy AG admitted they withheld images showing death, physical abuse, or injury. Pam Bondi said the DOJ is done with half of 6 million documents still sealed. A 15-year-old girl on video in federal government files for years, and nothing was done. The FBI documents describe Trump sexually assaulting a minor introduced by Epstein. A war started the week these files dropped. 7 Americans are dead. This is what they were hiding. This is why the war started. Folks, I'm not one for conspiracy, but
A CNN investigation revealing unredacted videos of young women, including at least one minor who says she's just 15, posted by the Justice Department as part of its Epstein file release. The videos showing women's faces and bodies unblurred, in some cases in compromising situations. MJ Lee is out front.
Unredacted videos of young women that CNN has censored here are among the millions of Jeffrey Epstein-related files released by the Justice Department. An extensive CNN review of the Epstein files uncovered at least 7 videos featuring unredacted women.
Hi from Deauville.
This girl, dressed in a bikini and heels, seemingly doing a model walk, says she is just 15 years old.
Hello, my name is I'm 15 years old. I'm 1.78 meters long, and I'm from Riga, Latvia.
It was only after CNN inquired about them that a DOJ spokesperson said Thursday the videos in question have been removed and are being reviewed for appropriate redactions. This error message is now in the video's place. One of the videos included brief nudity when a young woman pulls up her shirt to expose her breast after singing Happy Birthday. The publication of these videos risk the potential re-victimization of women who may have been abused by Epstein years ago. It was also in violation of the DOJ's stated criteria on what information would be redacted in the Epstein files in order to protect the victims.
To protect victims, we redacted every woman depicted in any image or video, with the exception of Ms. Maxwell. We did not redact images of any men, unless it was impossible to redact the woman without also redacting the man.
Like so many other Epstein files, these videos are not accompanied by any information providing context about them, including who these women are, who took the videos, or the date that they were taken. The DOJ has also faced fierce criticism for other improper redactions in the Epstein files, including publishing victims' names, birthdays, and addresses, and the over-redaction of information about individuals who may have helped Epstein.
Your Department of Justice initially released nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was grilled this week by lawmakers in a contentious hearing and vowed that the DOJ was acting quickly to correct any mistakes.
If someone's name was redacted, we said right away was not redacted and should have been, meaning a victim. We went back and redacted it. We're doing everything.
They went back and redacted it only after it was released and then flagged by people who were looking through the files. That's what's called doing your job? Folks, my belief, my thought, my speculation is that this is why we are at war. Not only did Netanyahu pull one over on Donald Trump, who is easy to flatter into doing whatever it is that you want, but it also provided the wag the dog strategy that we have been talking about for over a year. Not to mention Donald Trump saying that he's not going to pass any new legislation until the SAVE Act, which will disenfranchise about 70 million women, is passed. And then if that doesn't work in terms of stealing the midterm elections, we all know that he is gearing up to put 23,000 troops in all 50 states, that he is not taking off the table the potential of using ICE agents at polling for security purposes. He is doing everything and anything to ensure that we don't truly get to the bottom of this Epstein syndicate that he is at the center of. Because the only person mentioned more in the Epstein files than Jeffrey Epstein is Donald Trump. Finally, the Trump administration just announced it will not release any more Epstein files. More than half of 6 million documents remain sealed. Pam Bondi's response, the DOJ is done. Done. Brian Allen writes this: I relish the day she goes to prison. Republicans' reactions: Senator John Kennedy, release everything. Representative Nancy Mace, the days of cover-ups are over. Lawmakers are now calling it what it is, the Epstein administration. The deputy AG admitted they withheld images showing death, physical abuse, and injury. Names redacted, images hidden, half the documents sealed forever. A war started the week before. The files dropped. 7 Americans dead. $2 trillion erased from the markets. The draft on the table. And Pam Bondi just told Congress and the American people, you don't get to see the rest. She is relying on a pardon. The question is what she had to do to earn it. What did she have to do to earn it? GOP, guardians of pedophiles. And she is the face of it. Honestly, you can't make this shit up. It is so disgusting. It is so grotesque. I feel so deeply for those victims that will probably never see accountability, never get the justice that they deserve for what was done to them. Notice how now we haven't heard any more about the investigations that are happening in Europe and the work that is being done there, because at least they're investigating and arresting people. But now that the United States has linked arm with Israel to launch this war, all of Europe is on high terrorism alert. It's extraordinary. It's disgusting. And I don't know, folks, but today I truly do not have faith that anything will ever come of any of this. I don't think that we can count the amount of crimes that have been committed by this administration. I don't think that we'll ever really know the extent of the crimes that has been committed at the hands of this administration, the cover-ups, the grifting, the lying, the murder, the rapes. I don't think that we'll ever get to the bottom of all of it. And so what does that say about this country? What does that say about the kind of world that we live in? It's really hard to hold on to your faith in humanity, your faith that good will win in the end, the faith that we will overcome. Because in this moment today, I do not feel that way. God willing, tomorrow will be better. But I'm telling you, since the beginning of this year, since the beginning of this regime, it has been one heartbreaking, traumatic, awful week after another. And the question that I keep asking is, how much more can we take? How much more are we willing to take before something is done? Before I get out of here, dear friends, this is your reminder that this is independent media, and I am so grateful for all of you, your donations, your likes, your comments, and your subscriptions. This is the Danielle Moody channel, or you could be watching this on the Damn Digest at Substack, folks. And I keep all of my content free because I believe that critical thinking dies behind a paywall. But if you do have the ability, and I know that times are absolutely tough, but if you do have the ability to become a paid subscriber of either the Damn Digest at Substack or on my YouTube channel, do consider doing so. And I just want to shout out the super stickers and super thanks that have come in today. Grateful for all of your support. Ernst, thank you so much for your generosity and your $50. Soka, thank you so much for gifting a membership to the Danielle Moody channel. Just Julie for your $20. Oh, Danielle, I just found you through your work with Waj. You have changed my daily life. You speak truth. You speak your truth, the truth. And no, we appreciate your endless and empathetic work. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate that. Daisy, thank you so much for the $3.90. And yes, we hit 39,000 subscribers over the weekend, and I'm just overjoyed with the people that continue to discover this channel and support this channel and my work. So grateful. MK, thank you so much for the $1.99. And E. Schwartz, as always, thank you so much for the $2. Oh, and Talkative Hermit, thank you so much for the $3. Appreciate you. Y'all, I am running a special right now on my Substack for 20% off for the entire month. And if you sign up, it's 20% off forever. And it is at daniellemoody.substack.com/damn, DAM sale. And I'll make sure to write that up so that you can see it at the end of each show. Folks, I will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, it's Tuesday, so it will be Town Hall Tuesday, where you get to ask me whatever questions you would like. As always, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe. I will see you back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Be well.